Nerd Soul.
Yeah. Lay ill kid at OneYoungsta holding down, bringing this street geek and nerds soul. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go because we talking about some Marvel, y'all. That Marvel talk. That MCU. You know what I'm saying? I heard they got things going on over there. But before we get started, not by myself. I am with an esteemed colleague. You know this man for bringing things to you like One Nation, bringing it to you Kid Carvers, bringing it to you Pac Sampson, and so much more. That's right. Jason Reeves, what's up?
I'm chilling. I'm good. Hanging out,
He's like, I'm chilling now. I know it's hard for you to get some time out to talk about that Marvel because you out there with that One Nation bundle, man. What's up with that One Nation bundle? I hear you got, a whole collection of books that's available right now.
Yeah, man. We out here selling copies. So our flagship title over at 133 Art is the first story arc has finally completed, giving you sort of the length and breadth of the epic that is One Nation, bringing together, certain plot lines and characters that we wanted to see, clash or come together, especially Paragon and the 10th Foundation, philanthropic superheroes. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, man. So this is our first story arc. It's finally done. It's like 11 years in the making. In indie time, that's like 2 years, but
yeah,
indie comic time, that's 2 years. So don't trip. So yeah, I'm very excited about it, and we have been selling that mug. We sold a couple copies for that Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man. Hit that link below, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Check out 133 Art. They got books, and I mean, you see me cover them on the channel. I've been going through One Nation, a couple of the other issues and stuff too. So feel free to check that out. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Because you want to make sure that when you talk about a subject or review a subject that you know what you're doing. You know the product or the IP that you're talking about, that you're working on, that you're working with, because
you're gonna study up on it.
Yeah, because the word on the street from Variety is Taika Waititi, quote, had no interest in directing a Marvel movie, took Thor Ragnarok because he was poor, and it was, quote, a great opportunity to feed his kids.
Got to feed the kids.
You got to feed the kids, just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. You know what I'm saying? That's all he's trying to do. He just trying to make some money out there. He's just out there, his kids were starving. There wasn't no other option except a Marvel movie.
No other rich option. I mean, he was already making movies, and ain't like he wasn't making no money, but
because I mean, when you hear that quote, it's like, man, he must have been homeless or something. Man. He must have been tough out there.
Well, in America, especially, not that he's American at all. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Is he nationalized? He's like from Australia, right?
I think so.
He's a Kiwi. Is that what they call him?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. So I mean, in America, he works in America. So there you go. In America, the richies they're good at portraying poorness. They're good at it.
They're good at working that out.
Yeah, they're good at making it seem like they're in the struggle with the rest of us.
Oh boy. So, real quick, I'm gonna hit the full quote. Comes and says, "You know what? I had no interest in doing one of those films. It wasn't on my plan for my career as an auteur." Oh, of course, because every film outside of Thor is just so rich. But anyway, but I was poor and I just had a second child, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed these children. Man, auteurs out here, it's tough out here for auteurs, man. People ain't buying physical media, you know what I'm saying? People they gotta go slum it at Marvel, you know what I mean? It's tough out there, man. The rich people, they hurting, you know what I'm saying? Alms for the poor.
gotta you gotta feed them kids to make them jokes about sentient hammers and that wanna be in relationships with their owners and stuff. They be
Yeah,
jealous.
you know, it's it's a lot of hard work. So I want to throw this. I want to throw this to you because you've been a staunch supporter of the idea that Marvel ain't got no plan.
The kid is staunch on this. Yes. Okay, so let me clarify. Because I don't want the red capes to come get me. But so I do not believe that they have as long a term plan as our other compatriots believe they do. Right?
Yeah.
Like every so often, your homie gets on the show and people tell me, well, they plot everything out and they have, and they always in the media.
They've known this for 20 years.
Right. They have their retreats and they talk about all this stuff and blah blah. And let me I like to demystify industries, right? Now I'm not in the film industry, so I'm not gonna try to speak super intelligently on what they do. But I am in the comic industry, and people tend to think that when you're an auteur or when you're in an artistic occupation, that there's this long scale, long form planning that goes on, and artists don't necessarily work like that, right? Like studios perceive, I hope anyway, like evidence, recent evidence it shows us the contrary, but I'm hoping that an industry that I don't necessarily work in plots and plans like they say they do. But yeah, they do. But in comics, we might have an outline of what we want to do, but things happen. Bam, bam, bam. And you gotta adjust. Mm-hmm. You have to make decisions. You run out of money, right? So And we see right now, like the comic industry, there's rumblings about how all these Marvel crossovers have been doing bad, and they're losing readership, and they have to find another way to do it, but they can't find younger readers to replace the old readers, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. And when the most visible mainstream companies are hurting, it makes it look like the industry is hurting, which is BS, by the way.
Yeah.
Comics is doing pretty well. It's $1 billion industry still with Marvel doing bad, but go off, guys. But yeah, so you have to be able to make adjustments. So going in, yeah, you might say that I want Iron Man to do this, and this, but that doesn't mean that when it's time to produce the thing that you have all the resources necessary to do that, right?
Sure.
And because I'm a person that I produce comics, I'm a person that sort of works parallel to that industry. I know that they're not plotting things out 20 years.
Yeah, it's like we're all in the entertainment industry.
Right. And they're not plotting things out 20 years in advance. There are things they would want to have done and money they will want to have made in 20 years. Everybody has that, right?
With this idea where they have these intricate details of like whatever show and this movie, and they knew it all along, and they were these master planners. No, they're not. Kevin Feige isn't. Kathleen Kennedy isn't. Jon Favreau isn't. Dave Filoni isn't. None of them. You know what I'm saying? None of them are.
And you got to take into account, like, first of all these people are human beings. So we're not infallible. We can't see the future. Again, we have to adjust. But also, you got to take into account not just the negative things that hinder production, but the positive things that might make a production move forward or backward, right? And those things happen a lot of times. You might get the perfect director for a spot, and you need to adjust, right? You might get the perfect writer for a movie, and you might need to push Eternals or whatever back, So, this whole thing about them plotting and planning and being almost omniscient in the eyes of the fans it's a very tedious thing because they build them up so high that now we're at a point that they've been built up so high that now it looks like they're moving like an actual studio, and now it looks bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm a DCEU fan. Like, I like their movies just as much as I like Marvel's movies, right? Mm-hmm. And I like them both. I like all comic things. I'm a comic guy. So when the DCEU was out and they were getting all this criticism about moving like how studios move in the modern era, I just thought it was hilarious. I thought it was crazy for me to be arguing with intelligent people, for the most part anyway, intelligent people, other comic fans, other comic dudes, and they're acting like Marvel is plotting way better than DC. And I'm like, dude, for the longest time I've been like, cats, they're the same. Like, Marvel just hides it better. And when the cracks started to show,
Marvel happened to have Kevin Feige, where DC didn't really have that guy.
That's pretty much the only saving grace. And now we're learning that Feige is not omniscient either. You know? Mm-hmm. I mean, he pulled a couple bad ones himself, right? So it's one thing to say that since they had a Feige, they had a central person who can steer the ship. That's a boom. I say that's good. That's always been a good thing. But to think that they are not gonna, even with that, they're not gonna move like a normal studio moves in the modern era, you being foolish, I think.
Yeah, so this goes on a point that I wanted to hit on when I was reading this, is there's a part in his quote where Taika said, and Thor, let's face it was probably the least popular franchise. I never read Thor comics as a kid. That was the comic I pick up and be like, ugh. And then I did some research on it, and I read one Thor comic, or 18 pages, or however long they are. I was still baffled by this character. There's this idea in the comics media space that all of these writers and directors, they're true fans, and they love this stuff, and they breathe this stuff, and they're so deep into it. No, none of them do. They're just taking checks. Most of these people don't know about these comics. Most of these people don't care. The Russo brothers might not know or care, but they're really good and they're dedicated to what they do. So it worked out. But they might not love comics. I don't know. Maybe they do, they don't. But they're dedicated. In this case, here's a perfect example. And I remember there was another director on I think it was the director for the She-Hulk stuff. I can't remember. There was another director that was like, I just wanted to make people angry. And it's like, who was it?
Jessica Cow, I think, is the
okay. But it's just like, yeah, that's not what I want to spend millions on. But this idea that like they love these things and all that, it's bogus. And then if you look at something like this, you're like, all right, so if you were baffled by the character, then why move forward? Why not? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure they probably still break you off a little bread that you came in and started the project or something. Like, I mean, you don't have to stay and make a bad movie, because then we get this whole director thing, especially from people like Chris Nolan. You get this idea like, oh, like I was forced to make this movie. Oh, I was shackled as a director. It's like, man, stop it. Like, do what rich people tell us to do. You don't like your job, get another one. We hear that from rich people all the time.
Nolan's been annoying for a few years now, but I will give him, I mean, spoiler rich boy, whatever. But I give him credit for not crapping on the source material of Batman. He took what he did and wanted from that to create his own sort of story and narrative, and he accentuated a lot of great things from Batman. Mm-hmm. And he never came back and was like, yo, I did it, but it's ridiculous. And to me, I think ideally you would want people, you're never going to get 100% people who love the material in anything, right? Artist or not, right? Great director, great writer, great, drawer or not. But you can find, if you're a professional and you're an artist, you can find people who will go through the material. First of all, you got to read it, and then pull stuff out that's dope for them, that make them invigorated and want to work on a project, but also stuff that, and they can add stuff too, but also stuff that will make their audience be like, okay, like there's some stuff about Batman you have to do. He got to jump off a building and fly in these movies. He got to drive the Batmobile. Now, you might, as an artist, as a professional, you might not necessarily be like, it's been done to death. But then you could find your way of doing it. And then you're enriching the IP. You're invigorating yourself to want to work on it. That's what professionals do in any industry, right? Hopefully. And to hear on the back end that you just did it for the money, and you still don't care about the character, and it's the bottom of the barrel and all this here.
Yeah, it's like this weird director flex. Like, yeah, I think they think it's a flex, where it's like,
and it's not.
I made this movie, but I didn't even like it. You know, right. They came to me. It must have been at the bottom of the barrel. No, just because they came to you doesn't mean that's at the bottom of the barrel. It just means that they weren't finding anyone that it worked out for.
I hate the idea, and they thought you were gonna be the dude. Yeah. I hate the idea that comics are bottom of the barrel, and to me, that's an extension of that idea, right? Hollywood comes in, you know, we're pulling comics from the ditch they were laying in because it was only for stupid kids, and, you know, people who don't want to read intellectually, you know, it's intellectually devoid and all this, and you just pulled it out of the muck. I hate the idea, and him saying this, it sounds to me like an extension of that idea, and I do not like that. Like, why are you like this, bro? Like, especially Taika, man, the kind of stuff Taika makes.
Taika is a wow. If there is an example of a one-trick pony in filmmaking, Taika is that. Like, come on, bro. This dude has one type of humor, and that's it. And it really got exposed in Love and Thunder. It's like, wow, this is really all you got.
Well, he really checked out. And this is gonna be an unpopular opinion. People are gonna, you know, people might be mad for this, especially some of our compatriots, but I blame the Marvel fan base, the MCU fan base, for propping up these mediocre things, a lot of these mediocre things. I thought Ragnarok was alright, but people make it out to be like the best Marvel movie that's out.
I think it's because Ragnarok was a lot of fun, but I don't know if I'd say throw Ragnarok as like, say, a top 3 Marvel film. But I will say I would put it in the like the fun, enjoyable popcorn bucket. Like, it's fun. You can watch it, have some laughs. It's very bright, colorful, cool.
I'm in opposition to the fun shield. People use it too much. The movie is fun.
Okay.
Like, as long as the movie is fun, then it can do no wrong, and that's BS to me. But
now I don't believe that. Like, I wouldn't put it above, like, say, I wouldn't put it above Black Panther. I wouldn't put it above Winter Soldier. I wouldn't put it above like either of the Infinity or Endgame. I wouldn't put it above Iron Man 1. But at the same time, if somebody was watching it and asked me to watch it, I'd be like, all right, cool. You know,
fun is so subjective to me because I find John Wick to be fun. Like,
yo, John Wick ain't fun. That joint is just a masterpiece, bruh. Like, bruh, in that most recent movie when he's shooting them with that double barrel fire shotgun thing, bruh, man.
When in the last
whole other level.
When they're fighting with swords and guns in the little display hall and in the Japanese hotel, and then when they're rolling them back down the stairs,
that man hit them steps like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
like,
but you know, I guess my point. I hope I didn't lose it. My point is like, the fan base prop these movies up to an insane degree.
Yeah, so they do.
And some of the ones that were fun, some of the ones that they love so much, well, some of the most mediocre showings. And I think Marvel decided these people will go for anything. And so they started putting out anything, and now everybody's mad. And I just find it funny. Because
I think it's because Marvel didn't realize that people will go for anything that is also entertaining. I think they started making a whole bunch of anything that also wasn't entertaining. Like, but to this point, regardless of entertaining or not, it would be nice to have someone on the project that is like actually interested in making it. And this comes from the top. And I know people, they like, there's certain studio heads they like to jump on. For some reason, Feige is still untouchable. And I'm gonna say it like this: on the Star Wars side, which is also another proven example of Hollywood having no plan. But on the Star Wars side, a project goes wrong, everybody's on Kathleen Kennedy's head. Everybody.
Right.
There's been a few, man. Phase 4 was it was rocky. It was real rocky, and things are still they're tidying up, but they still rockish. Ain't nobody been on Kevin's head.
Tidied anything yet? I feel like they haven't tidied anything. I feel like they're taking a step back, which is a good sign. But
I'd say since Ant-Man Quantumania, I actually feel like they're trying to go in one direction. Phase 4 seemed like, yo, let's just do whatever.
Yeah.
At least from Ant-Man forward, it does seem like, okay, we have a plan to make this multiverse stuff outside of Secret Invasion, where they did my man Sam Jackson wrong, and it's one of the most egregious slaps in the face to one of like the dopest actors. But look, don't get me started on it. He deserved better. But anyway, the movie with Quantumania, we have a very clear tie to the multiverse. Mm-hmm. Then you come into Guardians of the Galaxy, you get a very clear tie to a wider, at least I think that they're alluding to a wider purpose for the Guardians, especially relating to Rocket, which I believe is alluding to a multiverse there. When he had that I guess he was like in limbo, that conversation with the girl Otter, I can't remember her name, but that conversation. Then, of course, in Loki, there's a very clear tie to, okay, there's multiverse stuff going on. Then, of course, we have the What If show. So it now it seems like at least they're talking about one thing. Our shows are going in one direction. Like, so I'm down with that. At least we know where we're going. At least it seems like we know where we're going. Phase 4 did not seem like we knew where we were going.
For me, that remains to be seen, because I feel like the Rocket stuff was just like on his deathbed, like that didn't seem like pointing to the multiverse for me. Like,
okay,
Guardians felt very very insular, like it was like it's just his own thing, and James Gunn was wrapping it up. Still leaving some
like, I'm out, y'all,
to come back, but kind of wrapping his trilogy up to say, okay, this is my good bookend. Even though they are saying multiverse more, I still think there's so many versions of that they haven't like tied up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm hoping this step back is a way to tie it all in. There was so many ways fans even thought of to tie all this stuff together that they just totally ignored. Anytime now I see a good fan theory, I'm just like, they're not gonna do it. They're gonna do something else. They're gonna do something dumb. Like the thing with the rings in Shang-Chi, the 10 rings, and then you have Kang over here with rings, multiversal rings on his base or whatever. Like, you could have easily tied that in, and that would have been, similar to...
Yeah, and it seemed like they were trying to, but then let it go.
No, but they weren't, though. That's the thing. That was a fan theory. And it was a gangster fan theory, but they totally, like, missed it or disregarded it, or, like, we're not doing it. And I feel like that is where, what I always say, they don't do the smart thing, they do the easy thing, right? Like, I mean, they don't do the easy thing, they try to do the clever thing, right?
Yeah.
And instead of trying to be clever and beat the fans, like, yo, tie this stuff in. Again, I'm gonna say it again, they sold us on interconnectivity, and with Phase 4, they obliterated that. And now nobody knows what to do. Sadly, nobody knows what to watch. I kind of blame the fans for that. Like, that whole idea that there's so many Marvel things that we can't watch it. Like, you watch 8 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, ain't nobody.
You watch House of Dragons. Then you watch what's that one on Amazon? Lord of the Rings. You got all these other Lord of the Rings. Play the Lord of the Rings game. Like, I feel like people like to make up stuff to complain about. It's overwhelming when there's a lot of things, unless you like it. You like Star Wars, you watch every piece of Star Wars. Man, get out of here. Like, and I'm not talking about nerds, quote unquote. I'm talking about regular people watch every piece of Star Wars, quote unquote. And they know that the next Mandalorian season or whatever is coming behind. So it's not a lot to consume 30-something movies, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't feel like a lot. Now, I ain't saying you got to do it in one weekend.
There's people that be eating the same thing or going to the same restaurant 3-4 times a week.
I'm saying
it's not good. It ain't got nothing to do with saturation. It's not good.
Right.
Just
admit it. Oversaturation is always cool when we like the thing. When we like the thing, it's amazing.
And to your point, stop trying to be clever. The easy thing, this, like that fan theory that you talked about, so easy. Just like when I was talking about, even though I like the Marvels, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I did. I like the idea of just having like, oh snap, a real quick mission with these characters. It reminded me of a whole bunch of one-shots that I've read before. Now, I know there's people that have different feelings. I'm gonna go in and leave that alone. But what I will say is, in the end, I don't think it's a post credit, but in the end, they did a scene that I said should have been done with Hawkeye and Sam Wilson Cap a long time ago. Now, don't get me wrong.
So you can talk about it now. I feel like.
Okay, sorry, because I can't remember if it's out at home. Because my line for spoilers,
all that stuff was spoiled like weeks ago.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, basically, they send Miss Marvel out to go ahead and start recruiting the young Avengers. I don't think it should be coming from her. Now, I mean, that's fine with me. That's what they've made. And I like Miss Marvel. I like the actress. Cool. But this is something that should have came from the adults, the leadership. It should have came from them. Like, this should have been something that they started. Unless they're going on a route of like, hey, they're not doing anything, so we have to, do it ourselves kind of thing. Sure. But this is a conversation that I said a long time ago that Cap and Hawkeye should have had maybe at the end of the Hawkeye show or the end of the Captain America show, basically saying, hey, look, we ain't getting no younger. You know what I'm saying? My shoulder's still hurting from 2 weeks ago or something like that. We ain't getting no younger, but there's some young kids out there, they need direction. Boom, and just cut it. There you go. But you so busy trying to make a complete rhyming poetry George Lucas style scene with the scene from Nick Fury. It's like, bruh, would you just do the easy thing? Like, because now it seems like the people that were the leaders, the original Avengers, aren't even leaders. They're not even able to, start the next generation. They barely can't hold it together themselves.
I don't like the idea of presenting something to us and not following through because of like exterior factors like racism or like the incels ain't gonna like it or whatever. Yeah. I feel like the reason Falcon Cap is nerfed, and don't get me wrong, I have my own distaste for him, but I will say, had he been presented better and more, I feel like he could have grew on me. Like, of course I want a black lead character in the MCU. Obviously, I want a black man to run the thing, clearly. But the issue is they dumped him in a series. Now he got, maybe like 4 hours of screen time there, going into Phase 4. But then he had to share with Bucky. You know what I'm saying? He had to share with Baron Zemo. So we got that. Then they watered I don't know if I want to say they watered Sam Wilson down because he's kind of been lame the entire time, but also they kind of all lives mattered him at the end of his own series, which I thought was whack. And then he never showed up again. And if you're
and this dude is supposed to be the Captain America, he should be at the head of figuring out what we're going to do, at least on the ground. Maybe not in space, but at least on the ground.
He's literally the shield of the team, right? Whether he's the leader or not, he's the guy, right? He is the guy on the ground. So he has all the trappings of the next Captain America, but you don't put him in anything, right?
And you're talking, and I'm talking about talking scenes that a second unit could do. Shoot, a third string. You could do it with a cell phone. You could have. What they could have did was he could have showed up at the end of Ms. Marvel and been like, "You kind of goofy, but I like your style." Done. And then in the Marvels, he could have, when she came out like Nick Fury, you'd still had the same effect. It's still been hilarious, but then when she comes out of the shadows all goofy, he comes out of the shadows like, nah. She tells Kate what she needs to tell her, and then Kate is like, really, for real? And then he steps out of the shadows like, for real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that. And then you give him some power.
I say he should have jumped off a mountain in almost every show and been like, I'm recruiting for the Avengers. There's a problem. He didn't have to say what the problem is. Nick Fury didn't say what the problem was because we didn't know it was necessarily Loki or whatever.
Or you can make him the character where he's like, they'll be like, everything's all good. The Avengers thing saved everything. Be like, everything's all good now, but something will happen.
Right. You know I'm not like Steve and Tony. I'm preemptive. I'm forward thinking. You know, that kind of thing. That makes
something will happen. Someone will come, and like Vision said, because he was there. Like Vision said, our presence invites challenge. We need to meet that challenge. Boom. Like, bro, you're talking about a talking scene that takes maybe an hour to film. Now I know y'all got to get craft services and everything down there, but come on, y'all can knock this out in a day, a weekend tops.
Had they not all lives mattered him and nerfed Flag Smasher, or killed Flag Smasher, he could have been a more progressive Captain America in the sense that he doesn't work within or around the government, but he has his own channels that he goes through. That's why he can work with these young heroes and that kind of thing. More of a X-Men vibe rather than an Avengers vibe. Mm-hmm. And I think that would have been very interesting to play around with this new type of Captain America, with these new type of heroes, right? But they again, external factors are making it so that this black man can't be at the forefront of this MCU universe, this new MCU, and it doesn't make any sense why they would offer him up to us and then not let him do his thing. But same with even Shuri. Okay, we don't want to do it with Sam. Then throw Shuri in there. Let her do it. You know what I'm saying? Or Shang-Chi. Why isn't Shang-Chi trying to figure something out and his 9 rings leads him to the Negabands? Mm-hmm. That's too easy. I mean, Simu Liu is just waiting to like jump on another Marvel project.
Another day, if that shoot.
Listen,
if they were going to say, hey, the 10 rings and the Negabands have some sort of connection, they're calling out the multiverse too, because they could be like, that calling out to the multiverse was the same. It was calling out to that extra Negaband that Dar-Benn found. He could show up at the end of, like, bruh, it's here's this goes into my next point.
The external factors stopping Shang-Chi, all these different minority characters that supposedly we all want to see shine. Mm-hmm. External factors are still keeping them from shining, and that's some of the most disingenuous stuff the MCU has been doing. They pat themselves on the back for creating inclusion and diversity, but they don't do it. They're not doing it in the same way. The white guys and gals
they basically throw a bone just to get you to shut up.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And now we hear
so
that they're
annoying.
going back and retooling. The rumor is now Shang-Chi 2 is on deck. Now we know for a fact that 3 months ago Shang-Chi 2 wasn't on deck. You know how
No.
we know? Because people kept asking Simu, yo, when Shang-Chi 2? You heard about Shang-Chi? He's like, I ain't
Nah,
know
man, I don't know nothing.
So now Shang-Chi 2 is a thing because now we're trying to gear up for Secret War, which I personally felt like announcing Secret War this early was always a mistake in my opinion.
Yeah. This goes to a point of them not, bruh, not only do they have no plan, all right, not only do they have no plan, but almost worse than not having a plan, they don't even seem to care. And here's why. People that care show a sense of urgency. People that care, they move and they make things that show that they're interested in the projects that they're in. Now, I know these are not drawn characters. People have schedules, this, that, and the third, but there is no way, especially with the technology we have now, that someone can't be on the FaceTime call as Shang-Chi is coming back to America or, from leaving his sister, or that we can't get a scene with the sister doing something that, she ain't supposed to be doing because she said she was shutting everything down, or, it's tons of stuff that you can do to create interconnectivity, which is what you said you was doing, and you not. And then you continually making all of these moves that are so disjointed that it's almost annoying how disjointed it is, but it shows that you have no plan. And like you said, the easy thing is right there in front of you. You got the nega bands. If you knew, all right, cool. We got the nega bands are coming up in this one. We know you got the 10 rings. We know we've already alluded that they're a similar thing or they come from a similar place. Why not get him on the phone so he can show up in the movie? You had Valkyrie show up in the movie, and I thought that was great. I thought seeing her in the movie helped push the idea that guess what? These people are in the same universe together. They're not doing this alone. I enjoyed that. Just like it would have been awesome to see Cap going around being like, yo, look, there ain't nobody else. Cap is gone. Cap is gone. Tony's gone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where Bruce is. It's up to me.
I'm not super convinced that it's like I get it. There's a lot of things that need to fall into place to get these cameos. But other movies do it all the time.
Yeah. They could be on Skype or Zoom or FaceTime or something with each other.
Same resources as the MCU or Disney in general. And John Wick manages to have basically everybody from the Matrix in it. Right? I mean, there's Keanu, there's Lawrence Fishburne, and then you got what's my man? Oh man, I'm having a brain fart. You know what I'm saying?
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen is in there wrecking shop, and we got my boy from The Last Samurai. He in there. You got all this fan service in these 4 movies. People
and they
you
do
recognize.
not have the backing of Disney.
Right, so I'm not super convinced that they couldn't do it. I feel like they spent their money on other things. I mean, I heard She-Hulk was like $25 million an episode. So.
Whoa, 25 million per episode?
That's what I heard. That's what IGN says, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, that goes. I'm gonna in the point of no plan. Also, mismanagement of funds. There's no way that
it's appropriate.
She-Hulk costed $25 million an episode. Now, I did not watch every single episode of She-Hulk, I will admit, but the ones that I saw, I think I saw three or four. That did, at least the money was not showing on the screen. I don't know, maybe y'all spin it up on craft services or something. I don't know, but it did not show on the screen. She-Hulk looked like she was in PS4, PS3. All right, then you got She-Hulk needs to act. Can you just have her Hulk, please? Can you have her like do Hulk things, like be strong? Like, just all right. Now I know people are gonna argue, be like, "You didn't watch the whole show." You want to know why? Because it wasn't entertaining. But with that said, 25 million per episode, bruh, y'all gotta rein this stuff in. Like whether I like the show or not, 25 million an episode.
That
And
was nine.
they weren't even hour-long episodes, were they?
Not all of them. No.
Bro, what are you
was
doing
9
in these streets? All right, look, She-Hulk, that's way too. If it was going to cost 25 million an episode, I would have said, how about this? Why don't we just make a She-Hulk movie and save an extra, I don't know, $100 million or something like that? Like,
how about this? How about not 9 episodes? How about 4? BBC get away with 3 episodes.
Yeah, just make it good.
Like, I don't understand why they had to. So these were unproven IPs and unproven ideas and unproven characters. Why go all the way out? But again, that was the hubris, though, because people were accepting anything at that point. Their fan base was taking anything, right? Look, a lot of people said Moon Knight was good, and I will give you that Moon Knight. So what was good in the social justice superhero era, in my opinion, and I write social justice superheroes, so I'm not being an incel here. I champion it. In the social justice superhero era, we get heroes that deal with problems that people have, mental illness. There's celebrations of culture like Ms. Marvel and that kind of thing, which is dope to me. Fire! I love it. I strive to write things like that. But when you get to a point where that's the only good thing about the story, we have a problem. And I know it imprints itself on your hearts and your minds, and it makes you think, man, I love that they talked about the thing that I'm going through. But the problem, and people say Moon Knight was good, but my problem with Moon Knight is not that it had a mental illness.
Good and terrible.
It was just it's not the mental illness part. That's actually a good thing to explore. The problem is the story is just freaking terrible.
And we need writers. Listen to me when I say this. Know that I love you with all my heart. Stop trying to let us know that you read Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. We get it. We get it. We don't need you to wink at us to let us know that you have a Reddit account or something. We're fine. This idea that you have to prove through the show that we're self-aware and we read Twitter comments. No, it almost makes it worse. It's one of the worst parts. It's actually one of the worst parts of the Gen V show. One of the worst parts about the Gen V show is that they have to make sure that we as the audience know that we know what's going on in the streets. Once the show gets out of its own way, it actually ends up being good around the 4th episode.
It can be done super well. There's ways to address pop culture, scathing politics, and social justice bents all through your narrative. There are shows that do it really friggin' well. Really friggin' well. But if that's all you got, then you don't have a superhero show.
Yeah.
And let's not mince words. Let's not trick ourselves. These are superhero narratives. They're not comedy. They're not drama. They are not historical fiction. They are superhero stories. And if you hire people who at least can't respect superhero narratives, you're gonna have a Taika Waititi. I'm sorry,
because he ends up saying his last statement where in this article he says what's left to do with him. It's got to be something that feels like carrying on with the evolution of the character, but still in a very fun way, and still having him give things up. Give him things to come up against that feel like they're building on the obstacles that he has already overcome. I don't think we can have a villain that's weaker than Hela. I feel like we need to step up from there and add a villain that's somehow more formidable. All right. See,
I have a question.
Here's when you get into Vague City.
If you believe that, then why did you make Thor tackle the same issues that he was tackling in his two previous movies? In Infinity War and Endgame, he was tackling the idea he wasn't worthy, he wasn't a good hero, he had got fat, he was not, that's what he was tackling. And then you put him in Love and Thunder, and he's tackling the same exact issues. That is a person that believes in progression does not write that movie.
What would have been awesome is to have Thor actually take a leadership stand amongst the gods, saying, "Hey, this is the problem that we've all created. We need to get our stuff together." Like that would have been, but it was too easy to have screaming, goats or something, and too easy to have, like you said, having Lady Thor with cancer. It's like, bro, cancer? Can't Wong fix that? Like we got a literal master of mysticism or something. Like we got what are you talking about? Like
the cancer killing her.
Supreme. Cancer is not an issue.
Right. The cancer killing her is the problem. Like the cancer, you could write a good cancer narrative, but it actually killing her is the issue. Also, if Thor don't want to be Thor and he not worthy and stuff, then just pass the torch.
Or write it in a way where Wong shows up to Lady Thor and being like, hey, and maybe her having like a look on her face and him being like, look, I know you don't believe in this stuff. I know you don't like this stuff, but we need you and we love you. So we're going to do it. And then he just does whatever, boom, and the cancer's gone. And him being like, you can be as angry as you want, but you're here to be angry with me. And he just steps through his portal and goes. And then boom, cancer's gone. We got a reason why the cancer was an issue, because she didn't like, magic medicine or something. And then everything would have been fine. But you, bro, come on.
Maybe you're Thor now, and the cancer doesn't affect you as long as you have the hammer and you're Thor. Done. It's super easy. It's not really that big a deal in my opinion. I think, but if you're gonna focus on the cancer narrative, then let that be the crux of the story rather than whatever else was going on in that movie. Because the movie had 2 or 3 different things going on, and none of it was great.
The problem with Love and Thunder is Taika Waititi wanted the scene at the end with Thor with pancakes. That's what he wanted. So he basically said, "How do I get to Thor with pancakes?"
And where does that come from in the whole thing? Thor is a dad now? What kind of crap? Who said, okay, after all this, he's this little girl's daddy now? Really? That's what y'all want to do with Thor?
That it's stupid. It's nobody said. I don't believe anyone sitting around thought that Thor Love and Thunder script was dope. I think that there's a bunch of yes men that was like, hey man, he makes money. I mean, hey, he know what he doing. Why? Because money is virtue in America.
They were like, yes.
Yeah, they were like, hey, he makes money, so he knows what he's doing. And that was probably the end of the discussion.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, he knows what he's doing. He makes money.
Taika could not do any wrong.
Yeah, because money is virtue, so that's it. But it goes. I guess I'll throw this to you and ask you what you think on this one, because I know we coming up on time. You made the point about them, basically doing these virtuous things from Twitter and things of that nature, and hitting these social justice topics that I think are dope. Heroes should do that, but it shouldn't detract from the story. If it makes the hero whack, you need to rewrite it so the hero isn't whack, or that the story also has heroic things happening. So
it's there. It should be there to enhance the hero and the story. Yeah.
So what do you think about, I mean, of course we're getting a rewrite apparently, but what do you think about Blade being about life lessons?
I think.
Oh man, that whole story about Blade being about life lessons. I was like, What's the
Wait,
life
what
lesson?
was
I mean, I
what
guess
did
keep
they
the
say?
garlic close, and I mean, have a
Wait,
sharp
wait,
steak at the ready.
I missed that part. What did
Oh,
they?
so
What do you mean
there was
life
an
lesson?
article that came out when they were talking about not liking Blade, and they were basically, this is when people started to dump on Marvel, and it was part of the I guess the insiders that was talking about what is it the trouble production of Blade, and Kevin Feige yelling at people and saying that he read the script and he was starting to yell at people because Blade was essentially going to be the fourth lead in his own movie,
Right.
and that the movie was going to have I guess maybe some other women that were ahead of him, and they were going to be teaching him life lessons. And I was like,
I read that, and the
I
life
don't
lesson
know.
part didn't really stick with me. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah,
So
but it's a Trouble Blade script reportedly morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons.
okay, so
And this is
here's
the
what
one where allegedly Kevin Feige, I mean Kevin, you know what I'm saying, Kev going to jump in the comments if it's true, but allegedly was yelling at people and someone got fired.
Okay, so here's as I remember, I think there was a black female writer, black lady writer on Blade, right? So I expect black women to big up black women in her script. I ain't mad at that.
True.
I ain't mad at the idea that we can add some lushness of character through black women into the Blade script.
Yeah,
You know,
word up.
I mean, my man,
Shouts
my
to
man,
Boucher White.
straight up, we need her back. My homeboy, my homeboy Coogler just did it with Black Panther, and chef's kiss, right? But he had to do it out of necessity, right? I mean, he had already done it in Black Panther 1 too, so let me not say
Yeah,
that.
but
He didn't-
it was different. It wasn't a situation where Black Panther
Well,
was like the fourth lead.
I think Marvel likes to learn all the wrong lessons, so they're fans. And I feel like they were like, wait a minute, these, this demographic, the Negroes, love Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Black Panther. So what we need to do is make that situation into the Blade movie. Well, couple problems. Blade
Two
don't
different
work.
people.
Right. Blade don't work like Black Panther works. Black Panther is a whole society, and it's partially matriarchal, if not mostly matriarchal. So you can do that in that narrative, and you don't have to miss a step. Now, if you adding vampire lore, and maybe like if you go into the stuff that Wesley and them added to it, where there's this underground sort of cabal organization of vampire hunters and they all black and they got the tattoos. Now, if you delve into that and add the women to that, cool. But that's a lot of legwork you got to do for the first film. And so what presents the biggest problem of all of that is there's no way, in my opinion, that you're gonna do the first Blade movie and he's not the main character. Even if you want to add him with a daughter, even if you want to add this extra lore, and have three other I'm trying not to use the word female, and have three other women leads. Again, it's not the point that we want to put women into the movie. I have zero problem with that. What I have a problem with is when my man, who's the movie is named after, who's the central character that we're introducing, gets kicked back because Marvel is deciding to learn the wrong lessons. Because that's Marvel doing that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't blaming nobody else but Marvel for allowing that to happen. And Kevin Feige was asleep at the wheel apparently, because this movie been in production for years. So where was he when the scripts were coming in and Blade
just like
wasn't
the whole thing with what was the show that he watched the first episodes of? Is it Captain America? Whatever first 3 episodes no, it was Daredevil.
Yeah.
And I
He
don't know why that
fired.
has to be 18 episodes, but whatever, y'all doing the most. But anyway, like he watched the first 3 episodes or so and was like, "What is this?" First thing, I
You
Kev,
never
look,
watched
you
the
need to
first
step back,
episode, homeboy? You never read the scripts? Like,
bruh.
what's
You should have been on set. Okay, so here's the thing, Kev, bring it in real quick. You're talking about two properties that are beloved that you and Marvel under Disney are trying to now take over. They already have a tone set. They already have an expectation. All right, I got
right?
the people are going to expect Daredevil, especially if he go back to the do rag. All right, they going to expect a certain Daredevil. You know what I'm saying? They're going to expect a certain Blade. All right, and
Not after all these years, come in here with a Blade Part 1 and not
bruh,
have Blade at the forefront. Not have Mahershala. You're going to spend all that money on Mahershala and you're not going to let him be the front of the movie? This is not me being sexist here. This is me saying you can't make a She-Hulk movie or a She-Hulk show and friggin' Sam Wilson is the lead.
but
Like
what they'll
she's the
do,
fourth lead in her own show. That makes zero sense.
but what they'll do is they'll do what Disney and Marvel and everything. It seems like everybody under Disney does this. What they'll do is they'll make the women the lead, and Blade will be a fourth lead in his show. And then when guys are like, "Yo, man, why Blade ain't the lead in his own show?" Then what they'll do is turn around and say, "You hate women," and you'll be like, "Nah, man, no, women are cool. What are you talking? It's just like this. It's called Blade." And it because Disney has been jumping on that train a lot too with the whole like if you don't like this then you hate this or you hate that or you hate it's not that hey this meal of a show is undercooked, it's
Disney
no you hate you, there's something wrong with you.
That'd be fan Facebook social media squabbling with that crap.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't delve into that. I do not hate women. I love women. Again, I'm a social justice warrior, you know, if that's a thing we still do. But and I love social justice narratives. What I don't love though, as a writer and as a creator, is when you try to use social justice issues and you try to use, the issue of sexism and you try to use the issue of gender equality to prop up your thing in a way that doesn't fit what you're doing. It's almost like a bait and switch. Like, and it only serves to try to
kind
make
of
you
use it
more
as a
money.
crutch, sort of.
Well, they're trying to make themselves money, right? They're trying to do Wakanda Forever made what, $2 billion? They're trying to do that again with Blade. They kind of need to do it with Blade as bad as they've been doing, but that's not the way. That's not, man. In the beginning, they were trying to be creative and people loved it. Now they're just crunching numbers and it's ridiculous to do that. You can still have all of our good social justice narratives inside of these things without making them numbers. That's a problem. That's a problem.
All right, word. Well, then in that case, final word to you. What about your final thoughts and where can they find you?
My final thought is maybe I'm biased. Maybe there's no maybe about it. I'm not convinced that they're gonna do this current phase justice. I hope that they out there recalibrating really good because I want a Shang-Chi too. I want Ms. Marvel to shine. I love that show. I love Iman Vellani. I think she's the future of the franchise personally. Because I never liked Carol, and I as much as I want to like Monica, I just do not like that Jeffing for the. You can't just be like, we need to help this white girl.
Man, when she said they don't know what you've been through, I was like, man.
She
I was
lost.
like, you. I was like, bro, come on, girl, I'm gone.
This movie ends up with a little bit more of that. So I just had a hard time. I have a hard time with her, but I
Well,
do love
yeah,
Marvel.
Marvels, that was probably the one thing where I was like, man, look, so you gonna tell me that this girl ain't have no other family? She was just pining and waiting for Auntie Carol to come. Okay, all right.
That's what I'm saying.
So now first she's like, you don't know what she's been through. And now you got another one where she's like, I just wanted you to come back home. It's like, oh man, you're
I
killing me.
love Tiana Paris. I do not love Monica Rambeau. Um,
Man,
so,
it's they killing me
so
with it.
I hope that they're retooling in a positive way that will still keep my social justice narratives inside of a superhero narrative, and I get to see some supervillain fights and some good, investigations and some good, super science and pseudoscience. I hope that that's going to happen. Some magic thrown in there, whatever. I hope that that's going to happen. I am not super confident. All the rumors I keep hearing, especially about the Sony side of this thing, sound
Oh
dumb.
boy.
And Deadpool 3 being the only tentpole happening next year. While I do believe less is more. I don't know if cramming everything into Deadpool is the way. I think we should have less focus on Secret War, more focus on getting through Kang Dynasty, and not doing that character that we introduced dirty. But in my heart of hearts, and this is what I tell Rashad all the time. We talk about this. I said,
Oh
all this
boy.
gonna happen is Doctor Doom gonna come, punch Loki in the face, take the Yggdrasil tree, all the branches or whatever, and then we're gonna have then it's gonna be Secret War. He's gonna turn that into Battle World. That's all that's gonna happen. They're not gonna do nothing creative or clever or brilliant. They're just gonna be like, yo, it's all up to Doom now. Punch. And because Deadpool is a fourth wall breaker in a comedy, I could see them doing that and thinking that they did something really, smart or whatever. So I don't know. Prove me wrong, Feige, but I ain't all the way confident. So y'all can find me though with the comics and the narratives that I am confident about at 133art.com, which is the hub. We got merchandise, we got jackets, we got hoodies, we got comics,
And fresh hoodies, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Soon we might have some more stuff. We just going all out. I'm editing pages today, making things work. You know what I'm saying? I got some art. Oh, new news that I haven't spoken too much about. I have some art in Fair Square Comics' new extended version of Black is the New Noir. So if you want to see my newest art piece, you know what I'm saying, keep a lookout for that Kickstarter. And yeah, we are we doing what we do over here.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. So from my end, final thoughts is like, yo, just stop hiring people that think they going that think they going to outsmart the audience or for somehow want to stick it to the audience. Like you do like a psyche eval and they'd be like, yeah, I just want to stick it to the audience. Nah, bro, we ain't got time for that. If you want to stick it to the audience, just go to Twitter. We ain't got $200 million for you to stick it to the audience. We ain't got that. Also, just really plan things. And this ain't just you, Marvel. It seems that over in over at Disney, y'all, like Disney bought Lucasfilm and had no plan for Star Wars except like, hey, it's Star Wars. Just make a movie. Like, look, plan something out. I'm glad y'all backing up. Back up a little bit and actually figure something, plan something out. All right,
Please.
Like, figure out what y'all want to do. And
Please.
also tighten up the leaks around your office, man. We don't need to see y'all in Deadline every day looking bad. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Fire some folks, tighten up them leaks. I don't know, maybe it's the receptionist or something, but somebody got to go.
I think it's kind of funny that they all and we all participate in the downfall of the DCEU for all of the same misgivings, and then Marvel immediately turned into that. Like their fans decided we ain't got DC to kick around no more, so let's kick around what we love. I think it's hilarious. And my DCEU heart of hearts is like, I like it. Good. Eat yourself, Ouroboros. Let's go.
And see, my thing is, there's some DCEU stuff that I thought was fresh, but then they were just like, "That's in the toilet." James Gunn coming, so I was like, "All right, well, I guess
And
these last 2 or 3 movies don't even count. Why should we even go see them?" But
that's a whole other show how they screwed themselves.
but
I'm still gonna see Aquaman though. I don't care if nobody go see Aquaman. I'm going to see it.
yeah, I'm on the fence about that. You know, I heard one of their cast members pooped on the bed and blamed it on their dog.
Yeah, but she's only the fourth lead.
Bruh, every time I think about that, I'm like, yo, she blamed it on her dog though. Like imagine being a dog. Like, hold on, what? I didn't do that.
She's the fourth lead. She's not really in the movie, so
I know, but still, it's just funny. Just every time I think
they
about
was trying to do that to play.
Yo. She pooped on the bed. Like, imagine coming home and being like, "Yo, why'd you do this?" That was the dog. That is not the dog.
Hold up, though. We're not absolving young Johnny. From this.
No, I'm not saying young. I ain't saying Johnny is
like
some patron saint. I'm just imagining like just poop in your bed, man, and you're like, "Yo, you did this." It's like, nah, it's the dog. No, you did this.
It's a very trifling movie, Mike.
Yes, it's super trite. But anyway, we out, y'all. Look, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. Until the next time that you want to rant about Marvel, which I rarely do because I usually try to be cool with Marvel. But this is from us to y'all saying, buy some 133 Art Comics and peace.
Peace.